They don't wanna see us live together. Dun, 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 dun. All they want us to do is keep on fussing and fighting. They don't want to see us live together. Dun, 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 dun. All they want us to do is keep on killing one another. Top ranking. Top ranking. Are you skanking? Africa unites, 'cause we're moving right out of Babylon, going to our father's land. I want to start off this video, matter of fact, trying, not being rigid in my routine, no happy now, hours of vibrate, just getting straight into what I want to get into. But those were a few Bob Marley songs from his Survival album. Matter of fact, you should go check out his Survival album. One of his later works, you know what I'm saying? But reason why I'm speaking on this subject, matter of fact, happy now. The reason why I'm speaking on this subject, because somebody had a great, this is a great legitimate question, for people, because again, when I be getting at this information and stuff like that, I forget that, hey, like, you're studying extremely hard and stuff, like, this is not common, so when you bringing up all these little, this information, especially information that people not used to hearing, people gonna have a lot of questions, because matter of fact, what I've been getting a lot lately, matter of fact, I've been talking about social engineering and stuff like that, and people, like, oh man, I grew up on the Grateful Dead, and I grew up on the Beatles, this and that. I mean, again, nothing is wrong with, what I'm saying, like, a lot of us grew up on a lot of programming that, what I'm saying, that was unbeneficial programming to us. So, not just with the Beatles and rock and roll, I mean, our cartoons we watched growing up, matter of fact, cause when you go deep into Bugs Bunny and stuff with the cartoons, you see at one time they used to have actual racist cartoons, with that type of programming, but there's all type of nostalgia throughout our life, Say for instance, E.T. is most of our favorite movie, but there was all that is subconscious programming to make people, part of that was like there's alien life out there, like, instead of making it seem, instead of explaining and knowing that, all right, we are the star people, and if anything, extraterrestrial would be us from the future visiting ourselves. But, they create these little situations, again, social engineering or subconscious programming for their agenda, you know what I'm saying? Because if I make you think, oh, outer space, this and that, then you won't think I'm crazy when I do start this NASA program and try to go out of space and stuff like that, and this and that, But it's all a setup, so, we all been duped, you know what I'm saying, in essence, in some way, form, or fashion. We have a nostalgic connection to some type of thing that was socially engineering or programming us in an unbeneficial way, to our mind, body, and soul, don't take it to heart. We all, constantly growing. The whole thing, the spiritual growth in general, like, you find out something, or, something's wrong with you, gotta acknowledge it. Being stubborn, and like, oh no, but that was my favorite rock and roll group, or no, that was my favorite cartoon, this and that. It's like, bro, I know, but it is what it is. Kind of like the harshness of, growing up, and finding out your parents doing something, that that you never thought they was doing, or whatever, and you like, man, that's my parents, man, I love them, this and that, but they, they got a sex code on the side where they sacrificing babies, and I ain't, what I'm saying? It's like, oh man, like, I love my parents, but I know better than sacrificing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love my parents, I love that stuff, but all right, now I know better, so it's with that vibe. But somebody brought up, like, with Bob Marley, and with him, speaking of love songs and stuff like this, or, one love, this and that. Somebody was like, well, what about Bob Marley? Was he pushing this and that? And Bob Marley was just natural. Say for instance, like for one is you know, dealing with the Rastafari movement, you know what I'm saying, and dealing with love from that aspect, like, you know, unconditional love is something that is, you know, preached through Rastafari. So basically, like, you see the difference. So say for instance, Bob Marley wasn't telling everybody drop out, go hug trees and go play songs and, you know, and hold hands and sing Kumbaya while the government fucking over us. He wasn't saying that. Matter of fact, again, the lyrics I started this video with, you know, comes from his Survival album. And matter of fact, me and my me and my white brethren I used to work with were bullshit about that. It's like, you know, like how you know, most white people only, you know Bob Marley songs like, oh, Three Little Birdies, that's my favorite song, or, you know, like the One Love, or Jammin', oh, that's the song, Jammin'. But you notice that you would never hear none of them say, oh man, I like that African's Herbsman album, or I like that Survival album. And by majority, because, you know, this is not no, you know, because again, me and my white brethren who jam all, matter of fact, who put me on a lot of reggae artists, which is crazy. Matter of fact, shout out to my old co-worker Jonathan. But put me on a lot of you know, classic roots reggae and stuff like that. But again, you know, that's the whole reason why, you know, it was all good when Bob was, you know, going through the system. And another thing too, if you watch the documentary too, he kind of was in essence going along with what they wanted, you know, from that type of artist in essence. You know, it's like you know, speaking of the peace and love, you know, and that's why, you know, matter of fact, ooh, I think of another, tell the children the truth, tell the children the truth. You know what I'm saying? Out. Matter of fact, another, I forgot, traveling on this one, remember. It's something off of that Survival album, but again, telling in the song, tell the children the truth. He ain't saying, oh y'all, let's tune in, drop out, and take LSD, and let's go in the forest and hug each other, and, you know, let's ignore all that's going on. Let's just be about peace, man, and I don't see color, man, and this and that. Like, he wasn't preaching that. And if you realize, because he wasn't, the first little attempt, which seemed like an inside job, it just seemed like some gangsters of Jamaica, you know. But like when he did that concert, bringing those two parties, the two little political parties of Jamaica, I forgot the little abbreviations from. But, you know, and he made the, not made, well, in essence, you know, and again, you see how much Bob Marley was a vessel, man. We're all vessels. You know, Kanye West just spoke on that on his little mind control video on Periscope. That's a whole different thing. But anyway, you know, how these energies move through us, you know. But, you know, Bob bringing those two parties together, you know, and I think it was before that, though. Yeah, it was before he stood on stage. So the night before, you know, somebody ran up in the little place he was staying in, you know, and shot up, but hit Bob one time, and, you know, may have shot some other people. As a matter of fact, when Bob went on stage the next day, boy, you know, matter of fact, like they say in true rude boy Jamaican style, you know, he raised up his shirt and showed his little wall wound, like, you know, energy cannot be destroyed nor created. I mean, even seeing now that even though he's outside of his bodysuit, you know, energy cannot be destroyed nor created. What am I talking about right now? You know, what energy I'm talking about right now, you know. But that was the whole thing, you know, had that attempt, and then once, you know, down the line, then all of a sudden, Bob Marley gets, has a toe injury. Well, not say the toe injury, quote unquote, but has a toe injury, and that toe injury caused some type of, you know, infection or a disease of his body, and then all of a sudden, you know, Bob got sick out of the blue, you know. Know how that story goes. You know, and matter of fact, you just see how uncoincidental it is. Like, all these people who speak on what people really should be knowing about what's going on, all I gotta say is that they don't really care about us. You go look at Tupac interviews where he like, or even somebody that sampled that before a song, America Eats Its Babies. You know, literally, that's why all these, matter of fact, in movies like where the children always get neglected, or something bad happening to them, that's also a personification of how, you know, Hollywood and all these different people, you know, getting at the, you know, the younger soul, or should I say the children, the young bodysuits, you know. But you know, not along with that, he was saying something too, like about you know, like God don't need gold ceilings and stuff like that to talk to me, or stained glass, this and that. You know, it's talking about how they put all this money into church and stuff like this. But how they put all this money into church, but yet, like, it's the people who, you know, is without, who, you know, really need that connection, or to, you know, to get that connection with their inner source. You know what I'm saying? Not the people who, oh, I'm rich and we got this big cathedral, look at this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, he was getting at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, also talking about like a person with a big ass house, you know, and like, damn, I don't need that many rooms for one person. Like, you know, that could be people, you know, houseless people staying in those cribs. You know what I'm saying? You know, he was speaking on that type of level, which he was the most upfront, so he had the most upfront, obvious assassination out of most. You know, like, you know, Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix one wasn't that obvious, and Jimi Hendrix another one. You know, he was, you know, they had him with the LSD, so, you know, he was cool then, you know, because you pushing the agenda. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, take LSD, this and that. But then Jimi Hendrix started to, you know, get closer to the Black Panthers and stuff like that, and, you know, really get into the situation, and that's when, you know, he clocked out. As a matter of fact, a little information coming from the brethren, what's the brethren name? John Potash, who he wrote the book Drugs as Weapons Against Us, and he also wrote the book The FBI's War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. You know, as a matter of fact, with this type of information, and matter of fact, and this is a white brethren that wrote this book, so you know, so you see that it's just about justice. Like, you know, what's, you know, it's not about no black and white or this person. Like, man, you know, it is what it is. Matter of fact, I was about to say a person with eyes could see who's being you know, oppressed, you know, and how certain things are made to harm a certain people. And I was like, you know, you can see that with your eyes. And then I thought about it. That's why a lot of people, you know, I don't see color, man. You know, I'm spiritual. I don't see color, man. We all just, you know, passive aggressive, little racist tactics. Anyway, you know, it was said, you know, Mike Jeffrey was Jimi Hendrix's first manager, and he also was MI6, which is British intelligence. And you know, there's actually, again, the reason why I'm speaking on this, because even though I may not be bringing like, hey, look at this book and this is what it's, you know, because all of us, when we're doing videos, we're not referencing every single thing when we're doing it, but we speaking up on it because whether strong intuition with reference, or intuition, whatever the case may be, you know, which the brethren spoke on this, and he was like, yeah, that, you know, there's paperwork for you to see that Mike Jeffrey worked for MI6. And like he was saying, you know, with a lot of CIA agents, you know, once a CIA agent, always a CIA agent. Matter of fact, a CIA agent is literally, they more cutthroat than the gangs in the hood. And that's where you start to see again, like, well, here it is, like they make the Crips and the Bloods look so crazy, or, you know, Alton Sterling is so violent, or these people from these neighborhoods are so violent, when, you know, when the CIA don't allow for nobody to quit. That's why they make little movies like what that was, Red, with Bruce Willis, retired and extremely dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And they coming after him because he did too much espionage and he know too much. So now they gotta, you know, they again making these movies indirectly letting you know, like, yeah, that's how it pop off. You know. So again, Mike Jeffrey, you know, MI6 British intelligence, working for Jimi Hendrix as his first manager. And matter of fact, Jimi Hendrix's wife claimed, matter of fact, the Virgin John Potash again spoke on this. Hendrix's wife claimed that Mike would slip drugs on Hendrix, like I'll put drugs in his luggage at the airport and get him hemmed up. Matter of fact, and that's how he sabotaged one of his concerts, where Jimmy was going to a concert, you know, to promote the anti-war vibe. And again, that's where the chess game met. You know, yeah, the hippie vibe, and again, with a lot of these hippies, they didn't know that they were, you know, a part of a little plan to throw things off. So again, don't feel bad, you know, like a lot of people was duped in this situation, you know. But again, like the anti-war effect, you know, the hippies were anti-war too, but they had them in a vibe of like, oh, but just take acid, or just, you know, go in the woods, like go sing songs, and, you know, do that, and that'll change the world. You know what I'm saying? Like basically promoting a non-active vibe. You know what I'm saying? Say for instance, with manifestation, is everything about just sitting there in your thoughts? And look at the correlation, how sneaky things is, whereas in your face indirectly, you know, like, well, we talk about the law of attraction all the time. What law of attraction is, you know, be inspired by spirit first, then take action. But inspired by spirit, but then just sit around, you know, and which again, the illusion of action is like, well, we're gonna sit down and, you know, hug trees, sing, hold hands, you know, play the drums, you know, sing spirituals, sing Negroes. You know, it's like it's promoting a non-active vibe towards that, you know. So yeah, matter of fact, and again, Hendrix was dedicating his last album to the Black Panthers. You know, and it's like, oh, all right, you're not dealing with our agenda no more. And again, this is the whole thing, you know, philosophical warfare, you know, from all levels, you know, using self-promoted scholars to ignore previous indigenous knowledge, erasing history and making their philosophies the social norm, you know. So if I keep, oh, well, you know, addicts, Aldous Huxley is the smartest, or Carl Jung, Aldous Huxley, they always being paid by J.P. Morgan and Rockefeller, the guy who made the Skinner box, you know, Pavlov's dogs, and here it is where they do the same thing to you. Your school, in essence, a house or a building is like a little box that they put those mice in, and you know, the school system had a bell that rang like Pavlov's dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you ran through the system like an inmate or a slave. What's your lunch? Time for lunch. You know, child time. Everybody line up for child in jail. You know, time for lunch at school. You know, time for recess. Y'all go play for a little while. Now when you come in this class, sit down and be quiet and listen to what I say as a teacher. You know, as the warden or the security of this, you know, or the warden is like the principal. That's why we were so scared of our principal, because they gave it the effect of like the warden. She walked around with a paddle, punishing people as if we're in jail. Like I'm a little kid, and you telling me I deserve to get my ass tore up for being a little kid? You know, yeah, I'm not want to be quiet when this teacher telling me to be quiet, because my soul know better. You know what I'm saying? My soul know better. You know, these kids, you know. And again, and I always get on melanated people for sure for that ass whipping shit. You get that from slavery. You get that where you was beating instead of the master getting his hands on the kid, you know, or on the child, you know, because the kid is a baby goat, and that's how they use that word magic. Anyway, shout out to whoever it kind of brought that to my attention. But anyway, you know, so the child won't get extremely harmed by the slave master, or even worse, you know, we say worse because, you know, transitioning in that situation would be a good situation, but to each his own on what's good and bad. You know, some people, we, you know, rather be in our bodysuits, rather be outside, you know. Anyway. like instead of letting the master take care of the situation, it's like, all right, you gotta whip your own kid and you gotta beat the shit out of him and make it convincing to the master, so he won't like feel like, oh no, he ain't whip him hard enough. I'm gonna show you punishment. Go hang the baby over the swamp and feed him to the alligators or something like that, But these are, as a matter of fact, when we talk about, certain things, they don't bring that up. Like, so when they knocking Adrian Peterson, that's another thing. The aspect of putting a sleeping pill in your drink. Like somebody, like basically like what the government or these, white oppressors, slipping the sleeping pill in the people drink. And then like standing back and be like, ha ha, look at that old lazy, sleepy ass nigga, over there, look how sleepy he is and this and that. You slipped the Mickey on me, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you get to see that whole vibe like of I forgot, like, oh, like say for instance, Adrian Peterson, so here it is on TV, Adrian Peterson should be this and that for beating his kids. Man, y'all got whole statues up for Christopher Columbus, for people who rape and pillage. Y'all got people saluting a flag of a country who raped and pillaged to get this place. But you're going to sit down on TV and talk about Adrian Peterson whipping his kids, and he's only whipping his kids in that manner because he's taught that way from the slavery which you introduced to, melanated people in this hemisphere, So it's like, that's where all of it, and then that's why as a person who's intellectual, I can't, like, it's difficult for me to even deal with people in those types of conversations because I'm like, like, bro, get out of here with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and two, some people though, it's just kind of ignorant by, by mistake. Like, just happen to be ignorant. Some people like choosing to be ignorant, It's kind of like that vibe. If I don't see it, then I don't have to acknowledge it, That's why Jane Elliott, shout out to Jane Elliott. She was like, if anybody in here want to be treated like a black person, raise your hand. Everybody like, I'm straight on that. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people don't want to have eyes to see color and this and that. Because, when you can't see nothing, then you can't claim that, well, I didn't see it, so I didn't know it was going on. All tactics. It's not going to be the same. It's passive aggressive now. And again, back to the philosophical warfare, using self-promoted scholars to ignore previous indigenous knowledge, erasing history and making their philosophies the social norm. So instead of acknowledging Jehudi and Imhotep, it's replaced by Hermes and Pythagoras and Euclid and Plato. Those are the most amazing people ever, like, even though they went to the mystery schools in which some of them didn't exist. I think not say something, but yeah, some of them, like I want to say Plato, or one of them ended up being or at least speculated to be, not even a real person or some shit. But again, these are the most amazing minds to ever, not the people who made the pyramids. Oh, forgive them. Let's talk about the people who build these colosseums up in Rome and Greece and who write these books. The most amazing minds. Instead of Kemet and Kush and Lemuria, it's Rome and Greek and the Phoenicians and the Rosicrucians and, again, philosophical warfare. And that's why you see it's so important to not ignore certain things, Like, of course, dealing with the law of attraction, you don't want to always, you don't always want to be, you don't want to be focused on things that don't benefit you. But again, it's some things that's put into the vibe of negativity or paying attention to bad things that's really not. In order to move forward in my now, I gotta know, what happened in my past. Whole point of us, doing past life regression, to see what it is that I should be learning from in this lifetime, and what a lot of us learning from or should be learning this lifetime is not to turn the other cheek, not to turn the blind eye when shit is going on, because when you continuously do it, you know, you end up having a situation where we dealing with what we dealing with now, where we getting, where the government putting poison in the food. Look at Agenda 21, you know, and Monsanto with, you know, these GMO foods, stuff like that. You know, this situation is happening, like melanated people being oppressed. You know, all this is happening because, you know, in past lives we allowed this to happen in the first place by neglecting and turning the, you know, turn the other cheek in essence. And also though, to bring it in full circle on the spiritual level though, this is a part of the experience as well though, you know. But again, a part of the experience is, you know, of course we connected to higher self, but we also tend into a game that's going on right now, you know what I'm saying? Or should I say you know, things that's going on in the physical matrix that, you know, again, yeah, I'm God on the human experience, but now it's the vibrate. And when I look around, I'm not in the ethers fully, you know. I'm part of the ethers as well, but for some reason I'm in this human body, you know. Since now it's the vibrating, now I'm in the body, then I must have something to take care of right now that has to do with being in the human body. You know, makes sense. But, you know, again, so when we talk about Bob and oh man, where he had, you know, little peaceful songs and that was promoted. And then you, matter of fact, and I tell people too, I might have did a video, matter of fact, I did do a video a while back, oh damn, that's cool that I did that video out here, sitting by LSU Union, but about how reggae music, you know, got pushed under, you know what I'm saying? And I remember listening to it at my previous job when I was working in Baton Rouge, and how, you know, because Rasta music speaks facts about, like, you know, being oppressed, like how, you know, again, matter of fact, listen to Wild Goose Chase, how that Wild Goose Chase go. I can't think of it right now, but still post. Go check out the song, and you get to see how Rasta music, reggae music been speaking on this. That's why I resonated with. That's why, like, you know, even though I'm not considering myself like a doctrinated Rastafari, but, you know, it's a part of my growth for a reason, you know, like in like a lot of those songs speak to that. Matter of fact, a lot of Bob songs been talking on what's going on right now, and that's the albums and the songs that people don't broadcast, you know. They'll tell you, oh man, Jamming, that's the song. Or Three Little Birdies, man, bro, that's my favorite song. Or that Bob Marley Uprising, I think, you know. You know, the closest there, you know, deal with, you know, Buffalo Soldier, stolen from Africa. You know, they'll vibe with that a little bit, but when you get into that real, again, like Survival, that album Survival, which the album title itself with, you know, nothing but flags from different countries in Africa. The album called Survivor. And one of the song lyrics talk about they don't wanna see us live together. Dun, 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 dun. You know, the same message, different vessels. You know, matter of fact, John Lennon probably got hip to the fact of like, wait, hold on, man. Our manager Theodore, what's his name? Theodore Adornay. I forgot the name, but I got it under the other videos that I did recently on social engineering. I actually got the information, but you know, somewhere along the line, John Lennon, like, all right. Matter of fact, you know, and I'm not into that. I don't know. So as I speak on this show, I'm not speaking from a place of intuitive insight or research, but I do know that the universe bringing things to my face and may have some truth to it. But, you know, I'm thinking about like the thing where they say Paul McCartney actually died in a wreck, and that the Paul McCartney you see now is like a double, like, you know, somebody else. But I'm like, John Lennon probably found that shit out, and they'll find out about the Tavistock Institute and what they were as a band really being used for. And he was like, oh no, fuck this, man. I'm out. And next thing you know, matter of fact, what's crazy, I never watched all that movie, but they did a movie on the guy who murdered John Lennon, and he seemed like a MK Ultra mind control victim or something like that. Like I kind of remember glimpsing pieces of that movie. I forgot the name of the movie. And you see, movie Hollywood, we're gonna fuck over you, and we're gonna show you how it is. Just like a serial killer. Cause I think they spoke on that for the what it was, the Black Dahlia, one of those serial killers who did some shit and then left little notes like, haha, you can't get me, this and that. No, that's the same parallel of what the government does with fucking over people, and partially, of course, the putting it in movies is to program you and indirectly initiate you into the shit. But you know, it's also like a, hey, like look at how we fucking over you, like, you know what I'm saying, like the thrill of it, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like somebody that would want to rape somebody and put it on camera or something like that so they could watch it over or whatever, you know, but that type of sickness, you know. But again, they just the contrast, you know. The pressure to make a diamond. They're definitely making some diamonds out here, let me tell you. The pressure real. So, you know, with that being said, we promoting peace through being active, you know. So now, you know, it's understood, and again, it's all right. Well, you know, man, my mom and dad were hippies and this and that, or, you know, man, I love the Grateful Dead and I grew up in this and that, or, you know, because even down to the acid, like, say, for instance, you know, with myself, I always realized, you know, like, which I always realized something about it, and that's why I had, like, a tight situation with it. I didn't start to get loose with acid till I got in LA, and realized, when I say loose, like I would, you know, trip in situations that wasn't just so secluded, you know. But you know, now I see, like, all right, you know, to a certain extent being duped, like, all right, shit, this acid really did have some, like, some little type of sneakiness to it, you know, and the reason why they promote it so much, you know. Like, so you know, we end up finding out that, you know, again, like, we all was duped, and like, in some of the most nostalgic things and things we love in life was probably some of the most most detrimentally programming stuff, you know, detrimental to our soul, you know. As a matter of fact, while I'm speaking on that too, just transitioning to that, you know, how to deal with acid now, you know. Which me, myself, personally, I know I will fall back off of the usage of it. I keep it real. And in which, as I'm speaking on this, you know, not to, and you see how that vibe go, like how I got one of my videos taken down about psychedelics, but other little videos about psychedelics could be up all the time, all day. But anyway, not promoting the taking of it. Matter of fact, yeah, not promoting the taking of it or any of that anyway, but you know, again, how to deal with it now. Well, again, I feel a vibe of, well, you know, I would still connect with it, but at this point, it's only when or if I don't you know, if my DMT and the psilocybin is not available, you know, I may deal with it. But, you know, it's getting to a place, because again, I realize, though, this is the thing too, though, and let's be truthful about it, you know, like with anything, you know what I'm saying, like how money, you know, some people take money and putting it in places that, you know, that oppress people, you know, while some people taking money and putting it in places that help people out, you know what I'm saying. Neither are, you know, good or bad, because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a fact that, you know, acid, you know, allows for you to connect with higher self, and, you know, and be able to you know, see what's going on inside your being, you know what I'm saying. That's a fact, like, you cannot take that away. But because the way it does open up your psyche so much, with somebody who's skilled at, you know, at psychology, or somebody who's very extremely knowledgeable about psychology and programming the brain, you know, when that's mixed with acid, then it becomes something else. Same thing like with money. When money is mixed with somebody who's trying to depopulate the world and wipe out melanated people, then money could be something that's seen as unbeneficial. When money is in the hands of somebody like me or Ralph Smart or Red Pill, Blue Pill, or any of Dr. Sebi, or anybody like that, then it'll be a whole different story. Same substance, different story in different hands. You know what I'm saying? So I would see acid as that same vibe. Again, being aware now, like now you might want to tread softly, in that area, because again, it does still provide connections, but again, it does have that vibe of leaving you open to, say for instance, somebody come around you and you don't know that they, an agent or somebody that's, social engineering, stuff like that, then, cause that's why I had my little episode. My little, y'all remember my LA growing pains video, I think. Was it in there? Or it was in another video, but, again, speaking to my, my acid trip, where it was exposing all these agents to me. So again, that's another thing too. Again, it could be used for programming, but I also got exposed to, the gentrification / CIA agent movement that is Abbott Kinney in Venice Beach. Like, and that's something I don't have. So as I'm saying this, this is not for everybody to go off of what I'm saying. I'm just speaking of from higher self and what I know from higher self, but because I don't have any physical, which I have stories and evidence on that level as I continue to speak up on, it'll make sense, but just speaking from intuition, or should I say, speaking from inner source and my experience, that area, is and again, not every single store, because of course when you're doing anything, you gotta make it seem believable. So but for the most part, and you start to see just that that gentrification is a modern day vibe of, like, the pilgrims coming over with their Bible, but instead of a Bible, it's like a new age movement in crystals. Come to gentrify your hood. And I remember at one time I was saying, because which it is a balance of the universe. I feel like so say for instance, if the melanated people had the knowledge to know that, all right, gentrification is bringing some bullshit, but all right, we'll benefit from the beneficial things that it brings, like say for instance, crystal shops, Whole Foods, healthy food in general in the area, all these different things, but then at the same time realizing, but staying connected with our roots and culture and ancestors, and knowing that this gentrification vibe is trying to push us out. So let's stay, let's promote, the indigenous vibes, along with that, what I'm saying? So we're not just falling into the gentrification vibe completely and just, again, allowing for what happened with the pilgrims a while back, just on some modern day vibes, because when I would again, and that's another reason why on my growth, I think I did the approach of let me be as peaceful as possible, let me look for the good and everything, which it's still with the Christ. I'm still with the Christ consciousness, but it's not blind anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that everybody, not on the level that I, not say level like different level, but just not on that frequency that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? So, in it, like as much as you attract, vibrations that again are the like frequency, you're also gonna attract, opposites, because like say for instance again, like a quote unquote empath or somebody who's sensitive to energy is like they attract covert narcissists or narcissists in general, just off of that vibe of feeling weak, or I feel weak, or this and that. So you attracting somebody who feels strong and like to eat off the weak. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's very key and important to not be like, oh, I'm a weak empath and we're sensitive to energy, and of course we're sensitive to energy, And then you start to realize as you become stronger that you just a little crybaby. Like, because when I think about like the fact that I know there's empaths, you know, quote unquote, in Hollywood and in these places where it's really, you know, I mean, I think of an interview. Cat Williams slid a little thing about slid out that he was clairvoyant, you know, in a little interview. You know, and I'm like, oh, all right, you know what I'm saying? So again, people sitting down crying like, oh man, the energies is in there. Yeah, we sensitive, you know, and to each his own. Some of us are more extremely sensitive than others, you know. I understand that, but again, just make sure you're doing your best to not hold yourself to being a weakling, you know what I'm saying, or looking at yourself like, like a, you know, it's like, nah, you know. And again, back to the acid vibes, you know. It's still gonna allow for a spiritual connection, and especially with intent, because everything is with intent, you know what I'm saying. Like I could take some of that water from the faucet that has fluoride in it, and you know, and put some energy into it with my intent. Go check out Dr. Emoto studies. Dr. Emoto, Emoto. Dr. Emoto, dealing with water vibrations and how you could just like, you know, be thinking of something or speak something out, and that vibration goes into your water, you know. So you know, it's a intention, you know, as well. But to be on the safe side, yeah, you could just leave it alone in general. Because I always felt like out of all like psychedelics, like that was the most, you could say, unsafest one, you know, if you want to use a word like that. You know, the one that had more liability compared to like DMT, like DMT is like you always feeling the source. You always like, you know, because matter of fact, I think about it, the difference between acid and DMT was like with DMT you would go through your demons as well too, but you were so connected to your source that you knew the process of what you was going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though I'm seeing all these faces and this and that, I also feel like something telling me like, you know, like I'm here with you, like you're just reviewing, you know, just the primordial energies, you know, and just basically like the ancient negativity of myself, in essence, the ancient chaotic vibes of source, you know, and just showing me, you know, that vibe. But again, as I'm going through it, you know, I didn't feel like, you know, like how, again, like how some people may have, you know, acid trips without, and they don't know how acid does, you know, bring up, you know, the shadow aspects, you know, of ourselves, or certain little demons that we're running away from. So when it brings it up, we thinking like, oh man, this thing, you know, when you really, you know, it's bringing up, you know, some inner stuff. But again, acid has less of a connection, you know, to the source energy like DMT or like psilocybin. Like psilocybin, also, that's more of a, you'll feel the source energy, but that's more of an earthly plane. So you'll feel the divinity, or that, you know, the source within the earth, in essence, you know what I'm saying, dealing with that energy. But so you know, the psychedelics again. But knowing what we know about acid is like, all right, you might not want to take it around somebody who you're not you know, sure of, or certain situations, you know. It's like that person may be, you know, or stay away from somebody who you suspect that may be like an agent or socially engineering you. You might not want to take acid and go around them, you know. Which I made the mistake. And again though, mistakes make you stronger though, you know what I'm saying? Because now, you know, again, I went through that in LA to be, you know, like experience it firsthand, so you know, I could know that this is no joke, you know what I'm saying, like this shit real. And you know, now getting to see how, you know, me always being about word is bond. Like, well, I always want to make sure I express myself authentic. Like, I never was one to lie. Like, I was strong about not lying to people. Like, even if it was a quote unquote enemy or somebody I should lie to, you know, I would keep it. You know what I'm saying? And it'll come back. Oh, me being truthful and beneficial as I'm speaking up on this information, you know, and then everybody, you know, that grew up with me from, you know, from back then till now that then had short experiences with me, but realize how authentic I am, will realize like, all right, you know, if Universal bringing this up, you know, and it may have some sauce to it. Like I like to say, you know, it may have some sauce to it, you know. And as I say that, still let your own intuition, you know, and inner source, you know, discern and be the guide when you watch any of my videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, let your heart resonate with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, unlike other people who trying to program you, I'm not trying to force anything on you. You know, because even in the aspect of a YouTube video anyway, it's a free will situation. You gotta go look up universal frequencies and click on the video, so you know. But matter of fact, to follow up with this video, you know, you could go check out, you know, these latest videos I've been doing on social engineering and CIA. You know, go check out my psychedelic playlist where I'm well, a few videos getting into the little stories and situations I had in LA dealing with the acid, you know, and get your own, you know, get your own vibe from what you know, see from or get from my videos. You know what I'm saying? You know, but definitely wanting to, you know, get into that aspect again. Like, well, somebody asked me about Bob Marley, and you know, well, you know, what about Bob and the peaceful vibes and this and that? You know, I mean, now at this point, y'all, it's just time to wake up. Like, the people who not doing anything towards your, you know, waking you up and stuff like that, are they allowed to live? Matter of fact, when you look at even modern day now, like when Jay-Z and Beyonce was, you know, more with the program, you know what I'm saying? It was cool. They could make that money and they could get those big shows and stuff like that, and they could, you know, be part, whether it's a small percentage or not, but be part owner of the Brooklyn Nets and, you know, all this. You know, you could do that when you complying with what they, you know, asking you to do. So same thing with Bob Marley and what he was expressing, you know, the part of Rastafari that deals with love, you know, because he was mostly expressing that aspect of it, in which I also see the chess game. Bob wasn't stupid. Bob knew the chess. We all know the chess game. That's why I started my YouTube videos low key, kind of being more soft spoken and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew the game I was playing. Like, let's stop kidding each other. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? And then that's where you see where society is just fucked up, because here it is where everybody know what's going on, but scared to speak on it. So you wonder, like, what's the difference between a North Korean and an American? You know, because here it is that they like, oh, Kim Jong-il, this and that, you know. But shit, people in America, even though they, you know, don't worship the president like in that manner, you know, the way we ignore, you know, the constant oppression and the obvious oppression, you know what I'm saying? You might as well be a North Korean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't, you know, but again, that's why, you know, certain entertainers these days are allowed to get a certain level of success, you know. What's the brother name? Forgot his official name. Childish Gambino, you know, come up in the ranks, and then make a you know, little shows and stuff like that. Well, got the show Atlanta, you know, kind of ATL, kind of getting into the you know, the aspect of our life, you know, like melanated people growing up in situations, you know what I'm saying, exposing that, and like This Is America video, of course everybody know that, you know what I'm saying, with these little symbolisms in that video. But again, it's like playing the game a little bit, you know, somewhat in compliance. So again, when everybody, you know, go to calling, you know, Kanye a coon, it's like it's a chess game out here in these streets, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, here it is, y'all calling him a coon, but if he stood up for y'all straight up right now, y'all wouldn't be behind him, and he would end up possibly getting assassinated or having a transition, all because he stood up for a bunch of people who not woke and not trying to stand up for themselves. So it's like, fuck that. Like, you know, so as much as y'all want to say, oh, he bipolar, he crazy doing this, bruh, hot, you know. And then you start to see the vibe of like, well, y'all just don't, like, the human egoic mind just don't want to accept God. Like, you know, like, don't, like, the egoic mind job is to keep you here, and that's what it does. Like, it just find ways of, like, I want to see God, I want to talk to God, and you get all these experiences in essence that show you that, you know, God is in support of you and is around you and this and that, but you don't even see it, that, you know, the little areas that source be trying to, you know, when I say source, your inner source, you know, our inner source, you know, it's like, oh man, he cooning. I mean, you know, it's a chess game out here. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause then, you know, back though, he had this video he put up on Periscope, you know, talking about mind control, you know, and also, you know, something that moved me, where I was like, no matter how much, cause the vibe I catch from Kanye, like my higher self told me that Kanye is just dealing with being partially programmed by, you know, the MK Ultra type of vibe, but then his spirit being so strong that he fight, you know. So what we seen is glimpses of him being in the program and glimpses of him coming out of it and being strong in spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just playing the chess game of it. And, you know, and because of the media is ruled by, you know, probably like at least six companies in essence, and ruled by the people who trying to oppress, you know. So when the news come out on Kanye, it's always gonna be like, oh, he's crazy, he's this, he's that, you know. And that's where too, as melanated people, you know, we gotta come to a place of not just writing off any little story. Matter of fact, where we get into a vibe now, and they done social engineering, they done created a vibe where people getting convicted without even going to court. Or somebody posts a video, such and such got into this. Oh man, so and so did this and that. Wait, hold on, you ain't even got no evidence. That person ain't even go in the court of law. But they creating this. So say for instance, well, like for as soon as that stuff came up on Bill Cosby, it was like shit, he was convicted before he just went to jail. But it was like shit, through the media, he was convicted already. You know what I'm saying? And here it is, where you got the judge who locked him up in jail, you know, ran for judge with his motto being, you know, I'm gonna catch Bill Cosby, you know. And that's unconstitutional to run for office with a vibe of like, I'm running for office to get this person, you know. Matter of fact, shout out to Young Pharaoh for that insight, you know. But yeah, you know, it's getting to that vibe where people getting convicted through the media, and they promote this. Because again, and you see how, again, like this is becoming like a zombie situation. Like, oh, we could just throw anything in front of them and they gonna, Kanye is a coon. Like, you know, like a whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's like zombie mode. Bill Cosby did it. You know, Michael Jackson touched them little kids, even though we don't have no evidence. You know, it's all, you know, but yet, every day, you know, people, they got Christopher Columbus's statues around, around America. You got George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all these statues. Thomas Jefferson was known to love his slaves. This is no secret. It's like, but praise those rapists and pillagers, but then when people get into shit, and again back to the sleeping pill and the person drank and then call them sleepy, it's like because the situation like, well, they doing all that shit, but oh well, look at all these gangsters and stuff and doing this and this and that. I mean, you took books away from us for over, I don't know how many years, you whipped the shit out of us violently, which in essence trickled down into us whipping our kids violently as a discipline, traumatizing the youths, and scientifically it's a fact that trauma is passed down through DNA, so like when you go to like, oh, but Bill Cosby was going to buy NBC, all of a sudden things start happening. Prince go on this little show and talk about the state of the black union with Dick Gregory and chemtrails and all that, and next thing you know, in this healthiest, he transitioned, Ozzy Osbourne and all these other rock and rollers or entertainers who probably snorted enough coke and dope to tranquilize an elephant in essence and still around. But yet one small slip up for Prince and Michael Jackson and all these people, it's like, damn, they transition. Coincidence in a universe that doesn't have coincidences. Matter of fact, I can show you indirectly. So Carl Jung, the people that everybody like to praise, and Carl Jung, this and that. Hey. And again, as I'm saying this, I'm not knocking, because I learned a lot from that information as well. Carl Jung, oh dang, don't lose this. Oh, talks about synchronicity. Like synchronicity, this and that, and there's no, matter of fact, so to again showing your philosophical warfare, making Carl Jung seem like the first person to realize synchronicity, as if the people in Kemet and those who built the pyramids that everybody marvel over, didn't know that synchronicity exists. But Carl Jung speaks on synchronicity, so to say that, oh, well, this is a coincidence. Well, no, your favorite scholar speaks on things not being a coincidence. Matter of fact, what's his name? Think and Grow Rich. Like, speak on, law of attraction, and this people, y'all, it's like, you're saying one thing, and here it is too. Somebody brought that to my attention too, with the vibes of, realizing how the beings like who are trying to oppress and fucking over shit on earth, they still gotta follow how can I say, for lack of a better word, certain universal laws to an extent, because I think somebody brought it to my attention and it makes sense too, that like say for instance, you notice how they fuck over all kind of things, but they won't blow up the pyramids. What I'm saying? Like, they'll take all kind of artifacts and do all kind of things, but they won't do that. Because then they know they stepping into a lane that's gonna really fuck them over. Like they could do so much, but that's like crossing the line type of vibe. But anyway, you just see all these little correlations. Queen Elizabeth, I think, just I see they exposing something about the human trafficking, that violence. Again, I'm speaking, and you see, oh, you said Queen Elizabeth. I said I see that this is coming up. So matter of fact, that's how them trolls come at you in your comments. Anyway, like with Queen Elizabeth and just the England and all that, dealing with what they deal with, with the oppression across, the vibes, dealing with the Rothschild family, the banks, all this. And here it is, Paul McCartney getting knighted by the Queen. You gotta be doing something that's good to her to get knighted, But I digress. But again, Bob Marley vibes, the One Love, that was about proactive love. That was love, with discernment, and that's unconditional love, loving myself, and unconditional love, meaning, no matter under what condition, I love you. I don't have to like you and like what you're doing. I don't have to promote the agenda of you trying to kill me, but I love you as an aspect of an extension of myself as, as source being, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's like that whole vibe was pushing, you know what I'm saying? Pushing love through Rastafari, but again, even in the early stages, he still had some vibes that was, strong with the roots, with the Ethiopian African roots, with the Kush roots, but and again, the songs that's promoted gonna be the Three Little Birdies and jamming and all this, but again, go jam his Survival album. Like, I listened to the Survival album, I was almost like, shit, that's why they murked him, in essence. And I say murk. Such harsh word. As that old Louisiana. Murk that boy. But nah, cause again, as I said, that we never we transition out of bodysuits, we're never going anywhere. Matter of fact, that's why as much as people speak with the brainwashing vibes with Kanye, when he said like Tupac and Bob Marley moves to me, you know what I'm saying? Like when he's like me, when he's like, no, not me, us, Bob Marley. And I ain't gonna lie, when he said that, that resonated strongly, because again, from connecting with Bob on the DMT trip to, because as a matter of fact, at one point thinking I was extension, but knowing better, but still like but seeing that, all right, like now they moving through, so that's why I felt what's funny, a mixture. I got Rasta Life. It's had it across my stomach, a mixture of Bob Marley and Tupac, you know what I'm saying? Like, and two, you see where the connection with the ancestors teach you how to learn from their mistakes, One of the things that Bob told me on the DMT trip was just not to let the herb smoke blind you. He was like, he may have been too dogmatic with his smoking herb. And matter of fact, this me telling you the vibe, you don't have to believe me, but this is what Bob told me himself, Again, I can only go with what I truly felt, and the way I feel about it is like, to the point of not feeling like I'm crazy talking. I just had to catch myself and thinking about like how some people may think it's crazy, so that's why I said that. But nah, he basically was like, like nah, slowing down on the herb, the chess game of coming out with knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Like, because Tupac tell me, if he could come back, he would have played it a little more smart on how vocal he was, like he would have played the chess game a little more strategic in that area, Matter of fact, towards the end of, his career and stuff like that, Tupac started talking about getting into politics and stuff like that. So you can imagine. Matter of fact, I forgot to say that, which is fire. Matter of fact, and go check out my video where I speak on Paramahansa, Yogananda, and Michael Jackson. If you look up Universal Frequencies, Michael Jackson, it should pop up. It's one of my older videos, kind of like, I want to say last year when I was in San Bernardino is when I dropped it. But anyway, how he spoke on like with Tupac, and how the vibe was like, with And how a lot of people speak on that too, like, well, Pac really wasn't no gangster, you know, or why he was being a gangster. Then you start to see the chess game of it, you know. But this brethren said, in which I don't know if he had learned that from an inside story or channeled that information. But when he said it, I felt my high self was like, yeah, that is some, you know, the sauce to it. But like basically Tupac was, you know, being a gangster, coming with that gangster vibe, so he could appeal to the people in the hood, just so he could, you know, start bringing them together, you know. Because matter of fact, moving to the West Coast and was, you know, working on bringing Crips and Bloods together, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Damn, I was about to say something and let that vibe kink. Don't wanna anyway, you know, just the chess game of him, you know, being that in that gangster vibe and stuff like that to connect with the people, so he could, you know, wake them up to the information, you know, and that was what the whole thing about. And again, seeing the chess game. As a matter of fact, Tupac was a Gemini just like Kanye. But anyway, you know, oh, Tupac switching sides. He went from the East Coast to the West Coast. Oh, he not gangster. This and that. I mean, you know, all that whole little vibe, you know, it's like, again, people not understanding the deepness of the chess game. Because you can kind of say, again, Kanye going through that right now, you know. You know, really trying to, you know, matter of fact, and to each his own at how they play the chess game, you know. Some comply a little more than others, you know. Some a little stronger than their words than others, you know. But I digress. Yep, that's basically it. Anything else will be on another video. Peace. Matter of fact, just remember, let me just, you know, have to go with a little end note of remembering, you know, it's about being active. If any type of spiritual teachings is teaching you to run away from what it is that, you know, here it is, we call ourselves light workers, but then you're gonna run away from what needs our attention, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and of course, you know, it's a vibe of that you're not out here to just, well, no, put it like this, just make sure you're taking care of yourself before you take care of others. You know, just let that be the main thing. Like, you gotta sustain yourself in order to help others. So do what you gotta do to sustain yourself, but then, you know, allowing for it to trickle down to others as well, you know. Again, any vibe that's about, you know, and it's not to say that all, you know, like vibes, like, again, like how some of the hippies was caught up in the vibe and didn't know it. You know, some people, you know, deal with drum circles and, you know, deal with wanting to go in the woods and just singing kumbaya and this and that, you know. Some people doing that out of the genuineness of their heart, like, you know, and really don't know that this is like a social engineering to keep you from really helping what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Because again, like certain high level, you know, yogis and stuff like that, that meditate on such a level where basically, you know, they're not even in their body, like where they always in the astral plane so strongly, where they could actually do some work in the non-physical. But that, again, you would have to be on that extreme, like you would have to be so one with your astral body to the point, you know what I'm saying? But like that vibe of just like, oh, we just gonna sit and hope and pray, like, nah, that's why, you know, again, pray, you fall and pray to something, you know what I'm saying? Sitting around like, oh, let me pray to Jesus and wait for him to come back and save me. Shout out to Santos, but not cause it was funny, like he came at it on some shit like how, you know, in Jesus, well, Jesus to save me, cause he got that Australian accent. So it's funny what he said, but you know, again, they promote this vibe to have you sitting around, you know, and not being active in your own spiritual growth, as well as, you know, and if you're not active in your own spiritual growth, how can you be active to somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you help somebody else when you're sitting around not even helping yourself truly? You know what I'm saying? So again, and honestly, y'all, I'm gonna tell you real, you know, realness. Like, yeah, this situation is really like, this really is part of that, you know. This really is a program to get people to, you know, to drop out of things and just, oh, we're just gonna, you know, I was gonna say pick it and all that, but, you know, just sit around and, you know, it's like, nah, that, and two, to those of you, you know, to the old school hippies and to some of the people now that, grew up with these vibes of, always, instead of really speaking on what would help the world, you just kind of fall back into playing your guitar and, holding hands and hugging trees and ignoring what's really going on and what would really help people. For those of y'all who are doing that now, all right, and matter of fact, especially if you're watching this video, now you know what's going on, so now you have the ability to do better since you know better, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's getting to the point where now I'm not even fucking around with nobody who on them vibes. Like, it ain't nothing against you. Like, it ain't nothing personal. Like, it's still all love and peace, but I'm just not gravitating towards that vibe. Like, nah, like, I know what's up with it now. So even if you're dealing with it out of ignorance, I don't want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? That's even worse to me. Like, so it's like, fuck that. I have to feel a vibe strong. Like, again, have to be that hell yes. Like what Source telling me, a universal, you being ignorant not to go to this healing situation or to the drum circle. Like, matter of fact, shout out to my brethren Cesar. Matter of fact, I forgot Cesar YouTube channel. Dang. But anyway, my brethren Cesar taking me to like these little, like different sound healings and the different meditation spots. Matter of fact, out there in the Rancho Cucamonga area, But like, again, I resonated with it for a reason, because I didn't feel none of that little fake, trying to get us to not pay attention to things vibe. It was, and then two, a sound healing. I guess that's why I vibe with it, because it's not about like, it's really, healing yourself. You know what I'm saying? And none of it was promoting the vibe of, like tuning out of the world, this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, more so like, hey, we, it's time to work, like more so that vibe. That's what you want to be dealing with. We are activists, and activists mean active, and you know what I'm saying? Again, and even though I kind of got on the Abraham Hicks vibe a little bit for how much they like which I get where they coming from though, as I say that. But like with like ignoring certain situations in order to keep a certain alignment, you know what I'm saying? It's like how can I say, there's a balance to that. Of course, again, I see Abraham Hicks, or Abraham, is speaking more from a vibe of like pure consciousness of source. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how pure consciousness from source, sees things and operates. But we got to realize, yes, we are pure consciousness of source and want to connect with that, but we are pure consciousness of source in a human bodysuit, in a world that has certain things going on in it that that if you try to ignore for too long, again, it's going to end up on your doorstep. Ask the people in Cali, I got houses, people sleeping all in their neighborhood, down there on their doorsteps. Go do your yoga and ignore the situation and come back and you see it's getting more and closer with it down there getting in your house. So it's a a balance to that situation. I say balance, you know. Matter of fact, I don't know, fell in love with that word integration, you know, integrating the energies. But you know, it's of course you want to be in the now. Of course you want to focus on the things. But that's the thing too. Focus on the things that you want to grow. And I want to see a world where melanated people not getting oppressed. So you know that's again focusing on the positive aspects of it. But again, in order to help the situation as well, we got to acknowledge. So say for instance, shadow work is a fact that you cannot, you know, if you go to ignoring something, it turns into, you know, a demon and something that plagues you even more and more. So the fact that people are trying to ignore what's going on, it only is going to get worse. That's why we still dealing with it, because it's been being ignored since the civil rights movement. You know, it's like, all right, we got enough of justice, so we're just gonna kind of act like, you know, y'all all the way free at this point and keep it moving. You know, it's like, and now we back to this place again, and now you see it's in your face. Everybody, if you at least 30 years old, you know, you learned about how stuff was in the past, and you seeing like, all right, well, damn, I'm having to stand up for the same thing that my people back in the day so say stood up for. You know what I'm saying? But you get to see that, you know, it wasn't fully stood up for. Like, you know, it's a bunch of, you know, hippie vibes and, oh yeah, man, we used to ride the bus around the country, you know, and take acid and sit around playing the guitar, and again, not knocking nobody, you know, but I am keeping it real about what's really not doing nothing and what really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, time for us, you know. You know, more and more is getting to a point of just not allowing myself to, you know, again, it's nothing personal. I don't hate you, but if you're ignorant to some of the knowledge that I know of, then, you know, maybe we shouldn't even, you know, be vibing. Of course, like say for instance, this is not to run away from people. You know, you get the vibe, like, and you see the chess game of like have you all over the place. But again, you got to be authentic with yourself and others. And now that I know what's up with that vibe, I'ma always feel uncomfortable dealing with somebody who's asking me to do that, you know, that tune out, drop out vibe. You know, the famous what's his name? Tim Leary little statement, you know, like, I don't want to deal with them vibes. Like, and that's what it is, you know. I want to connect with somebody who's truly, and again, that's not me like, oh, not connect, because no, I send them love, and hopefully, you know, and I say hopefully, you know, I trust that they'll, you know, if it's in their divine order, they'll get out of their situation. But it's not for me to hang with them, you know what I'm saying? Like, vibe with the tribe, you know. And that's vibing with the tribe again, not on no level where we neglecting, you know. I came across one of those, you know, kumbaya, my lord, like the hippie vibe like that, like, and I would see that, and I would catch from source that sources bring me across this person to, you know, let them know about the true information. You know what I'm saying? That's different. You know what I'm saying? You will feel that vibe. You know, like, again, following our hearts. That's why it's so important about, you know, meditating, getting out of our minds. Because say for instance, we're dealing with all this information, you know, it'll throw you off if you're all in your mind with it. You know, of course it takes our intellect and our mind, but it's us using our mind. Like, I use my mind to get this information, but then after I get it, I'm not sitting there and then my thoughts about la 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 la. You know, it's intuition, you know, feeling the vibe from higher self first and foremost. You know, when we get to that place, then it'll be less of that, you know, profiling from a physical standpoint, just more of like dealing with, you know, feeling the person real energy and stuff like that, you know. Because I would be, well, nah, scratch that. But that's basically it. Just being aware, y'all. October vibes. Matter of fact, you know, Scorpio season. You know, the underworld coming up to the light. You know? So what's going on right now? That's why all these things getting exposed right now. You know, so that's another thing too. It's like there's no coincidence, you know, that all these things are coming to light. And I mean, they've been making movies exposing what they've been doing anyway, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, Hollywood, wood from a holly tree. It's also the wood they use for magician's wand. Magic. You know. But tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth. Bro, that, man, that Survival album, man. And I'm trying to think of that Still Post. And that's funny because that's one of my favorite songs. But you know why? It's because I'm not taking the time to, I'm trying to stay talking so I don't make this video get silent. And as I'm talking, I'm stopping myself from remembering the lyrics. So, alright, give me 1 second. Let me see. Dang. Conan class to have human race on the moon in search of an alien. Man, matter of fact, oh, go listen to Still Post Wild Goose Chase. Go check that out. But again, as a matter of fact, you see why the president don't invite Still Post and you know, all these guys. Like why Still Post not be promoted in Hollywood? You know, they make good ass music and speaking on, you know, real things. Why they not promoted on TV and stuff like that? Matter of fact, I was gonna get to that again, like with you know, at BET. At one time used to you know, deal with the Caribbean vibes. Matter of fact, you had not only the Caribbean, well, I mean the Caribbean and the Latino vibes. You had the you know, the reggaeton and reggae. You know, bringing all those cultures together. Matter of fact, and that's another thing it was doing. It was bringing us together as culture. It was taking that little invisible line that most Spanish people and Spanish-speaking black people and non-Spanish-speaking black people have this line between themselves just because one of them speaks Spanish and the other one don't. But you know, with vibes of like you know, how BT had the reggaeton and the reggae vibe, you know, and playing it together, all that, and then all of a sudden BT stopped that. You know, you notice the programming got more and more ignorant, less and less of embracing our culture. You know, Rap City started to go, like all the, you know, the things that really, you know, because again, because matter of fact, a lot of people don't know that BET is bought out by MTV. Like unless something changed, you know, recently, you know, because I know it's like, all right, well, we're gonna get another company to swallow MTV up or this and that, which, you know, it's probably already another company, you know, that run. Of course, there's another company that runs, you know, MTV from the top. But again, like you see the little behind the scenes. As a matter of fact, like if you go look up, seeing like how certain companies again trickle down in all kind of other companies, you know. Like here it is with Kellogg, and that's how they trick, you know, Kellogg. Say for instance Kellogg, and I'm not saying for sure, but this is how this will work. Like with a company like Kellogg's, you know, that again not trying to really help you be truly healthy, you know, is also the company that owns Nature Valley and the healthy stuff too, you know. And again, don't quote me on this. I'm saying for example, you know, this is how that stuff works. And again, I'm eating healthy, this and that, but they still got some of that dirty stuff in them, you know, Nature Valley and all that. But they hide under the disguise of, you know, natural and good, and they keep the name that you like, well, you know, like, all right, let's say Kellogg's, for sure it ain't no healthy shit, you know. They keep that from our because they play the games of that little maritime court of law, you know, type of little thing. But to make sure that they comply to the little court of law thing, they make sure at least that they got it in small print at the back that, you know, hey, this is a product of Kellogg's, you know, or like Powerade and the sign and all that. You know, you look at it, you see Coca-Cola. You know, like, oh man, drinking some Powerade, some Gatorade to really get. Nah. I mean, that could be the first steps from you being a person who drunk soda every day of your life. Yeah, come matter of fact, I think so the beginning of my growth, Arizona's like I would get the Arizona green tea, and they had the herbal medicinal one or something like that come in a yellow can. I was like, oh, I would vibe to until that became something that, you know, that wasn't fully healthy, you know, that I learned better and like realized that the little corn syrup or the little fructose, like, again, reason why we got fruits in nature and stuff like that that doesn't have anything, you know, like a banana, it is like it is because that's what it is for us to consume it the way it is. Like, so say for instance, orange juice, all that, and they give you the lie of like, again, here it is, people who constantly try to kill you but act like they care so much about your life or your health. Like, well, you know, we put these preservatives so it could last longer on the shelf. Like, no, we don't need the preservative. I want some real natural orange juice, you know, because when I squeeze an orange, straight orange juice comes out, not or sorbic acid or you know, silicone, like all, or corn syrup, this and that. Like, why are you putting that shit like that? And that's where it don't make sense. Are these things healthy? I can see if these things were like making me like, you know, stronger and stuff like that. But no, they're poison to me. So again, you see how the racketeering circle, you being poisoned by one person who owns the food, just so you could go to their partner or their brother or sister who owns a pharmacy company, and you get poisoned by their drugs, you know. You go back to eat the same food and having to take the same poison. The next thing you know, you can transition out of your bodysuit without knowing that you was in a racketeering circle of, you know. But it is what it is. But peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.